Welcome back to Cultivating Resilience. Today we're diving into stress in children, how to recognize it, what causes it, how we as caregivers can help. Kids experience stress just like adults, but they often show it differently. We'll explore key signs and ways to support them. Thank you so much, Robin, for being here with us today. So tell me a little bit, what does stress look like in kids? What is stress?
Yes, so stress is just our body's natural response to stressors and triggers and challenges that come up in just general life. And we can respond in different ways with like having impacts on our emotional health and mental health, physiological health.
Yeah. So if I'm a kiddo and I feel stressed, what might I be doing?
Yeah, I mean, for kids, it kind of shows up a lot in behaviors. So you might show a sign in changes in behaviors or showing behaviors that maybe you never have displayed before, or maybe they're amplified. It also could be changes in like physical symptoms that you're experiencing or emotional like thoughts and stuff that you're having.
So I may be having a temper tantrum about something that would not normally appear like it's about that. And it may not be about that. It may be like I just am really, really stressed and having a reaction to something.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so argumentative, it may be that. It could be me fighting with friends, like arguing. Okay. So then tell me a little bit about, as a parent, how do I stay kind of attuned to this? How do I stay curious?
Yeah, so as parents, I think the more that you're checking in with your child, the more that you're kind of tracking and paying attention to what are their daily behaviors, what are things that maybe are looking outside of their norms, and just keying into those and asking questions and being really curious can be really helpful.
Is some level of stress good for kids? How do I know when it's too much?
Yes, stress for sure is good. It helps you to push yourself and overcome challenges and like reach for different potentials. But when it starts to impact like daily functioning to the level of, like you're just not able to maybe move through or get past something, it becomes very overwhelming. That would be the point of when we say that maybe you need some extra support.
Okay, so those are kind of indicators that we've maybe reached a threshold of like a normative amount of stress to maybe a little bit more what maybe is like more toxic stress or stress that may be now kind of taking over my brain and
Yeah.
body.
Yes.
I've heard some parents talk about my kid says they always have a tummy ache and they always have a headache. Is that sometimes possibly a way that stress could show up for kids?
Yeah, it definitely could be a way. Those also could just be other things going on. So I think it's just like paying attention. And the more that you know your kid and the more that you're talking with your kid about maybe some of those triggers could be helpful for them to help to understand maybe what might be leading to some of those body sensations.
Okay, so if I know my kiddo says, I have a headache every time before they take a test, that pattern might indicate to me, you know what, they may be pretty stressed about this test. And a normal amount of stress before a test can help us perform well, but when's the point that it may become a problem?
If maybe they are then like stewing and they can't get past it, or they become so anxious now that they don't want to go to school, or they realize that because of that stress that they're experiencing, they're not performing at the ability when they know that they should be doing.
Yeah. How do I support my kiddo when they're having a lot of stress? What are things I can do to either decrease their stress in my home environment or help create a space that can be supportive of that brain?
I think most importantly, just really open communication, both introducing and giving opportunities for your child to connect with you. I think also just knowing your child, if there are certain things that are, these are times of stress or these are things that lead up to stress, are there ways that you can support them in the process? Maybe they need something altered or changed or some grounding exercises with them beforehand to help prepare them for that situation. You could also do lots of modeling and doing some like co-regulation together, like deep breathing, or you could set the tone and environment for them to have some coping skills as they're approaching something that might be stressful.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about coping skills. What are options available for parents to help integrate that or support kids with that?
Yeah, I think it depends on what is you like, it depends on the child and what they respond well to, but you could do anything from some people like things in terms of like sensory. So they want like a sensory brush, maybe for instance, or some hand fidgets. Other coping skills can be things that get up and involve movement, or it could be just like teaching some grounding exercising that helps with breathing and trying to pay attention to your their body and what your body is telling you, or all different options that parents would have, along with a bunch of others.
I love that. So I'm guessing coping skills can be used like when I'm feeling stressed, but they could also be just proactive ways that we integrate them. Like, let's all do breathing before we eat dinner together. Like, just doing it even when we're not stressed, because I'm guessing, does that then just keep us more well balanced and be able to experience stress and manage it better long term?
Yeah, that's exactly how you want it to be. You don't want to just use coping skills when you're struggling. You want these to be something that you build into daily habits or just natural routines. So come those moments, you're not trying to force yourself to do something. You just naturally start doing those things.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of caregivers talk about the life of a busy schedule, right? There's go, go, go. I'm sure some of that can increase our felt sense of just like overstimulation and stress. How do I balance, um, you know, having activities, things to do with also maybe downtime or letting my stress brain relax a little bit?
I think it just comes down to being very intentional about your day. So, yes, life is very busy, but taking small moments here and there to cut out and be attentional. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do some me time, or I'm going to engage in this thing because I know that this is very regulating for me or helps me to have a sense of peace and calm. While also then modeling that and doing that with your children too, and giving them breaks and opportunities to do that rather than just like go, go, go.
So, Robin, when would I seek professional help? How do I know as a caregiver, okay, maybe it's time to explore extra support? And how do I do that? How do I navigate that world?
So one thing that you could pay attention to is, say like you're trying different things at home and those just don't seem to be helping in terms of getting you to a place where you can function daily at way that at the rate maybe that you want to be functioning at. So it's maybe the practices put in place just aren't quite enough. And so you haven't quite seen the changes in the behaviors or getting any relief from symptoms. That might be signs that, ooh, maybe I should seek some professional help. Schools is a great place for that. So teachers and all different types of school staff might notice and be able to make those referrals for like some in school therapy or some outside agencies as well. You can also self refer as parents. That's an opportunity that they have as well to do that.
Okay, so I would call a mental health agency, say, this is what I'm experiencing. What are my next steps?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Robin, thank you so much for such helpful information. Every child handles stress differently, but understanding their signals is the first step. Next time, we'll explore attachment styles, how early relationships shape our children's emotional health.